In 1965, a founder running a business had about 5 years to absorb a market shift. By 2026, that window has shrunk to a single quarter. Yet the corporate management class remains calibrated to that mid-century clock, running human speed processes in a machine speed era. When Mark Andreessen interned at IBM, he counted 12 layers of management between his position on the floor and the CEO. By the time bad news traveled up that chain, it had to pass through a dozen people whose performance reviews depended entirely on the news not being bad. The information was laundered at every step. To measure this friction today, analysts look at diagnostic metrics like the haircut index. It scores organizational drag on a 0 to 100 scale by tracking the latency caused by legacy approval gates, utilization incentives, and internal coordination overhead. Most enterprise services currently score in the 80s. A high score doesn't mean the corporate structure is broken. The system is working exactly as it was designed to. The issue is that the design was meant to safely manage human latency in the 20th century, leaving it structurally incapable of adapting to frontier AI. When a Fortune 500 company attempts to transform its operations to fix this latency, the legacy solution is to hire a massive consulting firm. The standard deployment is an army of 200 to 400 consultants, mostly junior, billing by the hour. Look at this pyramid representing a typical 400-person engagement. 90% of the team is doing almost no actual process redesign. That massive base exists as structural drag, consumed entirely by slide assembly, status reports, and running steering committees. The response to this bloat is an emerging operational architecture, known inside the industry as the Furie, and it aggressively inverts the math of enterprise transformation. Instead of 400 billing hours, a Furie engagement runs on exactly 9 humans. 6 are senior subject matter experts who have actually run supply chains or security operations. The remaining 3 are infrastructure engineers who manage the AI systems underneath them. With an army of AI agents replacing the junior tier, the latency from problem identification to an executed decision drops from a quarterly steering committee schedule down to roughly 45 seconds. AI exposes exactly how much of the legacy management class was unnecessary bureaucratic friction in the first place. Right now, on a factory floor like this one, traditional management relies on a half-fictional mental model of how the facility actually runs. They govern using theoretical whiteboard processes, separated from the physical actions taking place. Executive dashboards do not solve this. They are lagging indicators, delivering compiled reports weeks after the fact. You cannot fix an operational bottleneck if management cannot truly see it in real time. The new architecture requires a continuous telemetry layer at the physical edge. Mapped as an edge compute node, it captures every sensor read and microsecond of latency where work happens. It identifies anomalies and reroutes bottlenecks before the CFO even knows there's a problem. True enterprise transformation is impossible until theoretical whiteboard processes are replaced entirely by a live, audited, machine-readable readout of operating reality. Once that operational reality is visible, the stack introduces an agentic execution layer. This is an army of AI agents designed to handle millions of repetitive transactional decisions at machine speed. For heavily regulated industries like healthcare or energy, these agents cannot run on public hyperscaler APIs. They must use sovereign models. They are fine-tuned on the manufacturer's proprietary data and run entirely inside the company's own secure perimeter. But this introduces a massive compliance tension. How can an enterprise safely hand an AI agent control over a regulated billion-dollar production line without risking a catastrophic error? The answer is the governance and simulation layer. Think of how Waymo trains autonomous vehicles in high-fidelity simulations to handle rare scenarios safely, and apply that exact pattern to enterprise operations. Every decision an agent makes is first routed into a sandbox environment, a digital twin of the factory, where it is tested and stress-tested. If the simulation greenlights it, the action executes on the live floor. This continuous process of simulation and approval automatically builds a verifiable, completely transparent audit trail for every action taken by the AI. Telemetry without governance is just operational theater. The simulation layer is the only mechanism that safely allows AI deployment at massive scale without breaking the underlying business. This brings us back to the 9 human members of the Furie team and where they sit within this newly built architecture. With the base layers locked, 99% of the operational volume runs completely uninterrupted at machine speed. The human operators are strictly reserved for resolving high-stakes edge cases, hallucination checks, and strategic calls that require actual judgment. These humans are not career consultants making slide decks. They are veteran chief operating and financial officers, people who have personally signed off on billion-dollar production volumes under direct SEC scrutiny. Moving senior expertise this close to the work eliminates the layers of distance and the meetings about meetings that define traditional management. Yet this advanced technical architecture is practically useless without an equally radical shift in the capital structure that funds it. The traditional time and materials billing model, charging by the hour for effort rather than results, is functionally dead for enterprise AI transformation. In this new dynamic, the consulting partner, not the client, deploys their own capital upfront to fund the engagement. An independent third-party audit panel evaluates the client's operations and locks in a performance baseline at day 21. This irrevocable baseline is the standard against which all future progress is measured. It creates total accountability, filtering out clients who aren't structurally ready before the engagement even begins. From that baseline, they operate on a gain-share mechanic. The deploying partner only recovers costs and takes a split of the revenue if the auditor independently verifies an actual EBITDA uplift. If the client doesn't win, the consultants don't get paid. Structural transformation requires massive skin in the game on both sides of the desk, permanently tying consulting compensation to the client's verified profit and loss. By May 2026, the outcome stack has transitioned from mere architectural theory into a heavily funded market reality. Anthropic, Blackstone, and Goldman Sachs announced a $1.5 billion joint venture built explicitly to replace legacy IT services with forward-deployed engineering teams. Concurrently, OpenAI pursued a reported $4 billion raise, targeting the exact same outcome-based architecture for mid-market portfolios. This capital is deliberately bypassing traditional public tech companies, concentrating instead on private equity networks that can rapidly distribute the model across acquired assets. The institutional world sees it too. The CEO of J.P. Morgan Chase, Jamie Dimon, stood on stage in Manhattan and detailed how he personally logged into Claude Code to build a complex, fully cited financial research dashboard in just 20 minutes. The market has done the math. Capital is pricing legacy time and materials IT services as structural losers, while simultaneously shifting billions to operators who can deliver verified outcomes at machine speed. For enterprise leaders, board members, and CIOs currently reviewing master services agreements, the landscape has changed. Your new procurement demands must be non-negotiable. Consulting partners must deploy capital ahead of the invoice, and they must commit to a locked operational baseline at day 21. You must require independent quarterly verification of EBITDA uplift by named third parties. The math cannot be graded by the consulting firm's own internal audit function. The Bezos Prometheus project represents a more direct threat, an acquisition vehicle designed to consume companies that fail to adopt this verified outcome model. Yet while capital markets forcefully price in this transition, the legacy management class remains fatally distracted, busy scheduling another steering committee to discuss it. The choice is binary. You either adopt the outcome stack and get inside the machine speed operational loop today, or prepare to be looped by the competitors and asset managers who already have.